Alrighty, welcome to Azure Grand Assembly, January 2026. It's our first Grand Assembly of the new year. Happy New Year, guys. So throughout this assembly, the way we do this is we have a few phases of announcements with a couple raffles in between, followed by a Q&A as well, where we can kind of have like a live discussion, ask any questions about the topics discussed today, as well as any sort of statics or Eternal Bond announcements. Also a good time for that during the Q&A as well. It is good to see you all. We've got a handful of folks here between Twitch and Grand Assembly in VC and in game. Very, very nice, very nice. So we have a number of nice things to talk about today. This assembly is usually about an hour and a half to 2 hours tops. That includes Q&A. So announcements will be spread in between raffles, like I said a moment ago. You are welcome to chat in any of our chats, whether it's on Twitch, our Grand Assembly VC stage channel chat here, or in-game as well. And then, of course, as you can see, we have our podium set up there for Q&A towards the end. All right, so let's see. We've got one really big raffle for the end that I wanted to announce now, so you guys know what's up ahead. We'll have our two in-between announcement phases, but we are giving out a full set of fully pentamelded I-77 gear of your choice, crafted. This is battle gear, courtesy of our Lieutenant Roken here. That'll be the I-77 or I-770, yeah, and that'll be our grand prize of the third final raffle towards the end of the assembly. I also got a couple other cool stuff from the prize pool that's been donated as well. We're going to raffle off here in a little bit in between announcements. Yeah, that's fully pentamelded, so saves you a lot of gil. All right, welcome everybody. It's good to see some new faces here. We've had a pretty exciting week with the server opening. Finally, it has been 11 months and we've been on lockdown. Congested Midgard Stormer server and other servers on Ether. It's been pretty rough. Ether wasn't fully congested until the end of the summer, but now there's at least a few open, including us. We're one of the locked the longest. So there's a few new methods that we're employing now to kind of tackle the congestion a little bit. It does prevent people from transferring when it's like that. But at least some of the methods we have right now, I'll talk about later in the assembly, that are available, as well as now, as well as when it inevitably will lock again. So like we've been telling folks all week, if you have any alts, everybody's allowed one main, one alt in the FC. If you've got friends, family, folks that might want to join the game, even folks that might want to return and put a character in the FC, anything like that, you're going to want to do that ASAP, because this thing could close again any second. The last time it was open for 2 weeks only in March, and then closed, and it's been closed since. So until the other day. So it is definitely the time to consider either making more characters if you want more retainers, or if you have any anyone or any alt that wants to be in the FC, you can do it soon, in case you won't be able to transfer once it locks again. So, per our tradition, we like to read off the names of all of the characters and the fine folks that have joined Azure Infinitum across our network in the last 30 days. Keep in mind, these names have been logged through our recruitment reports that we do, where we keep track of, who joins when. That helps, the team know what's going on, and also, for moments like this is really cool. If a name is not read, we apologize. Our team is pretty sharp on getting all the names documented usually. And, we want to take this moment to recognize everyone that's joined our community and read off these names. There may be some in here that might be an alt of someone's as well, but, we still welcome that character as well. And, of course, most of these are going to be FF14. There may be a few here or there that are from our wings, our Azure guilds in other games as well. Give me one moment. I want to make sure we get the exact list here. The last Grand Assembly was in the end of December. That would be, okay, yeah, 11/29. Okay, so the past 11/29, actually. Okay. Yep, so welcome to Azure Infinitum, starting with Jillian Valentine, Illyria Vorkoth, Mikazuki Augusta, Sphene Garnett, Meteora Renaxi, Scav Bishop, Cosmos Sandali, Windup Leora, Yeaz Solidor, Armadale Exitus, Theo Vipera, Kitai Araik, sorry if I'm mispronouncing any of these, Atlas Sumner, Mocha Aroma, Gemma Alamine, Raven Nova, Eldritch Drakenshire, Akudama Preds, Master Markel TV, Luna Trinity, Zayla Momo, Integral Sorrow, Giggle Jelly Belly, Asalin Lycora, Yami Kinage, Damien View, Righteous Macrod, Citus Alexandrite, Eo Jual, Celica Kyrlite, Arix, Dragonitis Meritus, Celine Moon, Copper Pumpkin, and over in WoW, Pred Z 39 or 3250, Avalok Verathok, Ariel Verathok, Medith, Celeste Rin, Mr. Chaos Lord, Demon Nyx Slayer, Heyday 42, Pathian, Emerald Sin, My Phoenix Fire, Akiyama Stormbreaker, Satoru Gojo, Byron White, Valis Blackstone, Lee Keepums, Sinon Ajamu, Neurogenesis, Rashawn Darask, Koji Memoji, Alabax Nixioron, Black Star, Haparu Puppy, Meruk Riki, welcome Nene Surugi. We have X Unknown, Ray 35, Nova Nix, Shell Squidpus, Eliana sorry about this one, Zuyarian Zuza, Pickle McTickle, Oron Vyric, Kaldin Revik, Neriel Torvath, Zarek Ven, Udon Chan, Luca Helmont, Raven Helmont, and Shale Sakaro. Is the last month and a couple days for new members across Azure Infinitum. That is quite a bit of names that you read today. Welcome, new members of Azure. Welcome, welcome. All right. Well, let's start off by talking about the state of our community, and we're going to talk first a little bit about the rankings in our core here in 14. Here in FF14, it's been our tradition, I think, going back since the earliest Grand Assemblies or the original company meetings that we had that were much smaller back then than today. But we would always make a point to talk about where we are in the standings. So, as we say every time, we want to make sure that everybody knows that our rankings that we do have, the ones that we're able to see at least, which is great because sites like Lodestone provide that kind of information. Is not a goal per se, but it is a testament to our activity. It is nice to be able to see these things and be able to track them. In FF14, if you did not know, everything that you do inside of a free company adds credits to the community's credit count, which is always visible in the upper right corner of the FC menu. Turning in seals, turning in gear for seals and getting seals from Fates or Grand Companies is a big one, probably the biggest one, the most clear one of them all. And that contributes to helping us buy buffs, helping us buy fuel for submarines and those kind of exciting resources, as well as a number of other benefits for the community and the individual members that actually turn in stuff and then buy stuff with seals. It's very exciting. Very nice to see a lot of that going on. I think more than ever, we've got more awareness in the community of folks leveling, being active, doing big crafts. I know a lot of folks that have been getting into the recent Savages that came out were also very exciting. Doing Doom Train. These are all things that contribute. So our rankings really, when it comes down to it, we see activity as a whole in how many credits are gained per week and per month. Now, we do know that it is very visible on Lodestone as well to see communities and individuals that we call boosters. And it's just the easiest way to describe it. So we want to make sure that our members know that when you look at the rankings, look closely at the communities that have 8 people, 20 people, less than 100. That might be, having some kind of astronomical number that's really super high, 20, 50 million, whatever, way higher. A normal FC that is really active and about a medium to large size, maybe like Azure size, will usually see at least that 9 to 10 million credit range per month. Anything above that, especially if it's a small group, has to be boosting, which you can confirm now by looking at the grand company standings and seeing who's contributing the most seals per month. So what's interesting is we have confirmed by looking at that data and removing the names that, we consider boosters based off of the astronomical amount of, impossible levels of credits, which actually does put Azure first of the week and first of the month, which is quite interesting. We've had this many times before, but we've noticed a rise in, people's awareness of how to build these credits. And you do see these small groups doing this to try to stay up there on the leaderboards. Like every game has this problem. Every game has either got some form of cheaters or people that really try to boost it. So not to take away from the FCs that are actually very active and really performing well. Congratulations to them as well. But I want to announce that our rankings for this past month have been first week and first monthly as per the normal usual count of seals. Which you can all check on Lodestone standings. It's very, very exciting. So that tells us that we're actually being very, very active. That's a very good thing because that's what we want. That's what we go for. Between our daily events, recruits coming in, new faces, people doing things together. It's kind of visible all throughout the whole community every day. The longer you're around, the longer you're online, you'll kind of notice, even if chat might, die out for a little bit, things fire right back up in just a little time. And of course, our daily events and things that our scout team and leadership help to keep the momentum going and playing together. A community that continues to play together will stay together, as I like to say. So congrats, everybody, and thank you for staying active, being helpful members, informative, helpful. We've got new faces that are brand new to 14. We've got people who have introduced this game to friends and family, and they're like, hey, I've got this awesome group I want to show you, and they come here, and then there's tons of people ready to answer questions and help out, and I think that's really, really awesome. The fact that we can maintain that for so long and continue to promote that kind of helpful culture within our community is extremely positive and really good, and I think that's one of the strongest things. To me, that's more powerful than any raid clears or anything, is being able to welcome people in and do it right. So thank you guys. Thank you guys for an awesome, awesome month of activity. And as far as the full state of Azure, I would say that we are on target, right on target with growth in most of our areas. Individual wings of Azure are all kind of at different stages. Many of them, if not most, were not started 11 years ago, like Azure Infinitum FC was. And they're at different points of progression, different points of content, leaders, getting characters in and doing things there. And some of them just might have a handful of members that are having a good time. What matters is that we continue to progress and grow at a rate that is comfortable, but also, just pushing that bar a little bit while still being organized. Very important. And we have a lot of new faces as well, like I mentioned a moment ago. It has been very much a treat to see how many people we had come over from our Infinitum Reserve Corps project, which I'll talk a little bit more about later. But also with the server opening, just the faces that have been, well, I'm going to look at, Ether and check out a few of these FCs. Well, we've been keeping our, community finder and advertisements up very regularly, is, quite pretty often. And even updating it causes it to jump up to the top, which didn't even realize. It's very cool. But also advertising has been increasing for our Reddit pages. Not the Azure Reddit itself, which we do have, but the Discords that you can post in. So we've been doing a little bit more of that, and we're going to be doing more of that too for the wings to kind of help, get more folks in so that we have higher activities in those as well. I don't want anyone to ever think that those are abandoned or going so slowly that they may never take off. But it is a process. It is a process, and this is no small undertaking. And of course, with the amount of recruitment as well as people coming to join us, we will continue to be seeing activity climb. And this has always been a goal. There is basically no limit to what we can do and what we can make. We don't intend to create chaos, but we do intend to maintain order while bringing in, folks that are well informed upon coming in. Like, a lot of people know that we provide a lot of information. I think that's been one of our strong suits for a long time. And of course, our rules charter has a paragraph of general rules and a lot of additional stuff you can check out at any time. Very, very important if you're new with us to check that out when you get some time. Of course, people are always welcome to ask questions, and we've always got leaders online, which is fantastic. And of course, we have pretty steady activity in voice chat. I know that early in the morning we have different crowds throughout the day that tend to come in and hang out for a while. We've got VC Hangout for what doesn't matter what game you're in, what you're playing. If you just want to hang out, you can play an offline game and still come in and hang out. Stream or show us what you're doing, or just chat or hang out. If you don't have a mic, even you're welcome to come in and hang out. We want to see people using VC. The server actually does get upgrades and points for how many minutes that VC is used, as well as how many chat messages are entered per day, if you didn't know that. So it's not only something we want to see to build community, it's also helpful to the server as well. Not because that's our main goal to push that really hard, but we do want people to feel like, oh, this is worthwhile. It's actually helping to to hang out in these channels and contribute. So very positive stuff, very good. And of course, we've met a lot of new people coming into VC recently. It's very cool. Some days can be very, very chill. Other days can be pretty wild. But I think the rate that it's very enjoyable, and they're pretty much never have any major issues, is pretty freaking awesome. So shout out to the VC crowd that comes in and hangs out. If you're shy, don't be shy. Come in and say hi. Get to know some of us. Sometimes that's the easiest way to get to know your comrades, is to actually chat. And we do have a lot of folks that may not use VC, which is fine too. But it's I just wanted to mention that's going pretty steady, and it's nice to see a regular crowd. Our goals, I think, for Discord would be to just kind of continue to keep our channels in the order where they're at. Some wings may or may not come and go. As some know, we dropped Throne of Liberty and Phantasy Star not too long ago, after a very long time of trying to attempt getting those kind of going, and it was a little hard to get people into. Those games have a number of issues, but we did our best with that. And of course, the channel list will evolve a little bit over time. There will be some special channels in the future, kind of like the anniversary ones that were up before. But one thing I wanted to remind everybody is that in Discord, there's a button at the top that says Browse Channels. And depending on when you came in our Discord, if new channels were made, you may not have them activated. There may be channels that you might like that you don't know exist, and you have to go to Browse Channels and click the checkboxes to actually have them appear. And if there's channels that you don't want to see, and you're like, I never want to see a World of Warcraft post ever, I'm going to just click World of Warcraft and delete it from the menu myself. You can do that. Every member can do that because it's custom to what you want to see in our Discord. Don't forget, there's also drop-down menus too, where you can kind of hit the drop-down on support, but most of you can't see the support channel. FF14 or Azure Wings or Media. Maybe you just want to, close those, but have them only light up when something new comes up. You can do that by clicking the little arrow next to the name of each category as well. So, that is just something I wanted to highlight because, like I said, it's very easy for new channels to get made, and then they don't, people don't go to the browse channels button at the very top up there by the banner. So, yes, actually, I saw Akiyama asking in chat there. Yeah, we did. We did have a PSO2 NGS guild, which also, was also active in PSO2, normal PSO2. I started playing that back before Realm Reborn came out, took a break from it, And then when it had the official launch overseas, we jumped back in after NGS came out. And from 2021 to 2025, we actually had a small group over there. And for a short time in 2021, we actually had events. But one of the issues with NGS is it's rarely updated, and it's really all about the cache shop, in my personal opinion, and not a lot of story. You can blast through it in a day or two and have nothing to do after that. So it's a lot of socializing and hanging out and trying out costumes and stuff, which we do a lot in 14, but we also have the rest of 14, which is amazing. So it was just very, very hard for us to get anybody into that one, as well as TNL, Throne and Liberty, having a number of issues I don't want to get into. It was a nightmare. There's a reason why I called it Thrones and Suffering at the end. So anyway, moving on. One thing I wanted to do is update about the roadmap that we mentioned at the last assembly. And there was a January calendar roadmap that was posted right at the start of the month. I don't know how many folks saw that. It was an announcements channel. I thought that would be really cool to kind of have a graphic like that, to where you could kind of get a month view of what events are on what day. Of course, for all the different times and information, you'll have to go to the events tab on our Discord to see the rest, or the calendar on the website. But the monthly graphic is something I want to keep doing. Now, I did promise a yearly graphic as well, not so much for weekly events, but to kind of highlight the big stuff throughout the year. There's stuff coming pretty much every month, whether it's content, whether it's special events or seasonals that Azure will do for our own stuff. We've got a lot of stuff like that on the board. There's big stuff this year, like at the end of the year, most likely we're going to have 8.0 for 14. It might be January 27, but I think it's going to be December of this year, based off of all the things that they've been hinting at. We've got 3 different fan festivals this year. That's going to bring a lot of information, and of course, our FanFest watch parties are coming back, as well as our fan festival giveaways and the fan festival chat channels as well, which will be a category that's going to appear in April, and it'll be up all year, all the way to the expansion. I think we've been using those channels they're hidden right now, so they actually exist, but they're hidden. There's content in those channels going back to, like, I think Stormblood or Shadowbringers, when we started doing our watch parties. I mean, we had one back in the day in like 2014 for the very first FanFest, but we didn't have Discord back then. So yeah, very exciting. Usually we give out a ton of stuff. A lot of times, we're going to give out like Mog Station stuff or online store stuff, gift cards, things like that to celebrate FanFest. It's going to be very fun. And we'll be watching the announcements together. So it's a very exciting year. That first fan festival is in April. That's going to reveal the expansion name, give us an idea of where we're going. Not sure if it's going to show a job, but it's going to be very cool. Followed by the European and then the Japanese one towards the end, which will show 2 more jobs and some areas and some more of where we're going in FF14. Now, outside of FF14, we've also got World of Warcraft Midnight, which a lot of our WoW players are very, very, very excited for. This is the second of a trilogy of expansions that was announced. Kind of crazy. Going into the Void and dealing with a whole entire chaotic situation there, which is actually pretty interesting. So that's an exciting thing for our WoW players coming up pretty soon, in early March. So very soon. Later this year too, or actually I think sooner than later, we're also getting what's called Season 0 of Elder Scrolls Online in the new season system. That's going to be very, very interesting. And of course, sometime by the end of this year, I'm sure we'll see more information on what's happening in Destiny next as well. And aside from that, that's some of the bigger updates for what we're looking at this year. So between expansions, fan festivals, also we're returning to our original Azure Day format, where we're having Azure Day weekends in our typical quarterly fashion. I have a couple announcements about that here in a little bit. That's very, very exciting. And I think as far as the year goes, I think that's about it, other than the regular seasonals. Lots of holiday events and things that we're going to sync up with our FC. So this is going to be a very wild, very fun year. And of course, with the servers starting out being open and having this burst of activity, it's going to be really awesome going through this year with you guys. Now the roadmap graphic, like I said, I want to keep up the monthly ones. The 2026 one, I meant to have it out with the monthly one at the beginning of the year. For those that don't know, the past few weeks I've been dealing with a double-sided, both sides ear infection on both sides. I don't know how this happened, but it got really bad, and it was in my inner ear as well as my outer ear, and it was like not like outer as in you can see it, but outside the eardrum. Very very awful, with really bad tinnitus ringing, and I've been kind of sick for a couple of weeks. So there's a few things like that, like the 2026 roadmap that got delayed. But it's important to me. It's very, very important. I know it's important to our council too, that our members know where we're headed, like what's going on. We don't ever want our community to ever feel like they're in the dark. So there's always a clear path of, this is what's happening here and this is what's happening here. And it's even nice, too, for those that want to plan ahead and maybe take time to attend the real big special events, and also knowing when our grand assemblies are, ahead of time too, and things like that. So it was really cool to announce this assembly, starting off at the end of the month. The beginning of the month, starting off at the beginning of the month. And we've also returned to our monthly scout meetings as well, which is a really, really cool thing I'll mention later as well when we talk about Assist. So overall, I think the state of Azure Infinitum is pretty well right now. We had 2024, which we had like a theme for each year. So 2024's theme was what I call new groundwork. So, of course, every so many years, it's important to take a look inward at your community and at the guild in general and say, okay, maybe we need to not like overhaul, but just kind of go through each, area. We always are kind of looking at this like this anyway, but taking a look at the different areas of the community. How can we improve this? How can we improve that? And then sort of, more than just improvements, but really just taking a full look at everything at once and going, okay, so we did a lot in 24. We condensed a lot of information. We updated the charter quite a bit. We created the first ever council charter as well. We kind of reorganized our assist structure. We did a lot. There's a whole list of things in the Ascension announcement from 2024, which started January 1st, 2024. But going into 2025, we considered that the building of backgrounds, or building background systems, projects in the background, things like bringing our Onion project, into a different light, where now we are also doing, some other background resource projects, different types of gardening, different types of, gathering resources, and a lot of things I've mentioned before, like the past assembly, when I said we had, a large project going on with our submarines. There's a lot of neat things like that in 14 and beyond that have been set up in the background that were very, very challenging, but also very fun and really cool. And they're going to matter a lot this year, I think more than ever. So what is 2026's theme? 2026's theme for Azure is what I call universal tuning. And no, that's not a ripoff of the Dissidia update that came out a few years back, but it is a very cool name, and it does have a very good meaning. The meaning is because we are a universal chartered community, so our charter is written to be universal for all of our Azure guilds and properties. And going across the whole network, we want to fine-tune what we have built foundationally, and also the groundwork set, prior in previous years, and continue to fine tune that. So it's not just a, easy way of saying keep building. It's a way of looking at, okay, well, now we're at the point where we can continue to adjust everything and fine tune everything, right? And I think that's a really, really big theme this year, because not only was there a lot of exciting stuff happening, but also we're taking these systems that, have been set up for the future and making them even better as we advance as a gaming community. And this is also the third year of what we call the Ascension era of Azure. So Azure has different eras in our timeline. Of course, we have our founding era, and then there's the RC era, short for Resurgence Ceruleum, Rising of the Azure Sky, where we did a really big overhaul project back in 2019. And then we entered what we called Ascension, and going forward, the rise from here forward. Very, very cool. So it kind of gives us an identity to the timeline, where we're at with things. And of course, the no pun intended, the sky's the limit. which we found out it wasn't in Endwalker. You know, there's much more out there, but you know, you get my drift. The sky is the limit. Nothing is impossible for this community. So the goals for 2026 as well is to have the very best year of recruitment that we've ever had. I think we're on a great start to that. We're going to be doing a lot more community-wide, you know, multi-world, multi-game recruitment with our advertising, our teams, our structures, finalizing a lot of these background projects that started last year, like I mentioned, but also taking on new content in a stronger form as we continue to kind of reinforce what we've made. Organization is always a learning, growing system in Azure. Like, it's important for Azure to continue learning, growing, and then how we act upon that is very important as well. Every month has something to look forward to, from content releases to, you know, our seasonal events and special events as well. So very good year, very good start to the year, very good state of our community. And, you know, I think it's easy enough for me to say that I think this is really the you know, the best time to join our community. I really think that, you know, this is my favorite era of Azure Infinitum so far. I've really enjoyed, you know, our current rosters, you know, the fine faces that we talk to and spend time with in game and also in VC. It's really been a joy. So I am very much looking forward to everything, you know, coming from here forward. And you know, next I want to announce some other exciting things that are coming up a little more soon than later. So before we get into some really big announcements here in a second, let's go ahead and just take a quick second and do our first raffle. So here's how the raffles work. We hold the raffle across Twitch, Grand Assembly chat and Discord, and also in-game. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say flash raffle, everybody roll. And what that means is if you're in game near my character, you can do a /random, which will input a random 3-digit number into the chat box in 14. If you don't want to enter there, but you're watching by Twitch and you want to enter online, you can put a 3-digit number in the Twitch chat. You can also do the same in the Grand Assembly chat as well. So let me get in position, since technically the distance for being able to see random rolls is not the length of this whole room that we're in. So now that I'm in the center, let's go ahead and /random in-game, 3-digit number on Twitch or VC chat if you'd like to enter. Awesome. We got lots of entries coming in all over the place. And remember, this is for the first raffle. This is a special prize from the Azure prize pool. All right, a couple more seconds here. Anybody else would like to enter? Make sure that you are able to log into FF14 so we can trade you if you're not here. If you're not here and we can meet up with you later, that's also fine. Okay, let's take a look at our numbers. What I'm going to do is I'm going to slash random, and the number closest to my number will win a prize. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 entries on Twitch. All right. 345. Let's see. Zoc is very close. 5 away. Looking at more 300s. Also need to check online as well. Okay. 345. Ms. Contagious on Twitch is 347. Ms. Contagious on Twitch. What is your in-game character name, please? All right, one moment. Oh, it's Sayla. Okay. No. You are fine. No, I see you entered there, first, so... Yeah, that would be, Zayla Momo with the 347. Very, 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 very close to 345. Let me see here. Okay, congratulations, Zayla. Let me see, where are you at? Looking for your name here. I usually like to play with names off. Oh, you had stepped out of the hall. Okay. Yep, just come trade me when you get here. In a moment, we'll be starting our second phase of the assembly, going into some very, very cool announcements. Exciting. No worries. All right, there she is. All right, first prize. A Gallant Shepherd dog and a Lawn Blazer. Congratulations. That was a pretty close raffle. Alrighty. We'll have another one after a couple more announcements, and then also we have our big one at the end. Thanks for your patience, everybody. Okay, kicking off phase 2 of our announcements. So we've discussed the state of our community. We've welcomed lots of new faces in today, as well as throughout this week. And now I would like to announce that Azure Grand Duel Tournament 30 will be taking place on the weekend of Azure Day Weekend March at the end of the month, 28th and 29th. Now this will be our return of our 1v1 fully bracketed tournament. That is a championship series. The Infinitum champion, the current champ, Vidario Superstario Sanarmore, will be making his 4th title defense and also the 1-year anniversary of his time as champ. He's 1 year into the record. Current record is 2 years as Infinitum champion, going for the rank set by our old champ, Phelan Breeze, several years ago. This is going to be pretty hype. We wanted to announce it a little bit early, just to kind of build hype, give a little additional time to get awareness. And like I said, that's at the end of March. There will be a lot more information posted when we start posting March Azure Day stuff, which is also a surprise. Azure Day Weekend, March 2026, coming along with the tournament at the end of March. Azure Day Weekends are 2-day special celebrations of the free company, where we do back-to-back mini games, raffles, give out prizes. We have glamour contests. We have a lot of different things going on. Chocobo Race Series, where we do Grand Prix tournaments, Triple Triad tournaments. We've got a whole bunch of stuff that's planned for that weekend at the end of March. So that'll be our first quarter Azure Day weekend taking place. So during that tournament, it's good. Like I said again, it's going to be a fully bracketed 1v1 tournament. All you got to do is show up and roll for an entry when we get there. It's going to take place at the Wolves Den Pier at the what do they call it? The Dueling Circle, even though it's a square. And this is the 30th one. Man, I can't believe we're already at 30. It's been going for a while. We want to go big with this one, though, and there will be a gill pot. So the way this works is the winner of the 1v1 bracketed tournament will be able to win a prize pot that's going to be huge, starting at 5 mil. Now, the biggest it ever got before was 21 million, just for the tournament victor. But the tournament victor also gets a chance to face Infinitum champion Vidario Superstario Sanamor for a title match, best of 5, at the end of the tournament. So not only do they go home with however big the prize pot is, but also has that championship match as well. Now, the other nice thing is that champions in Azure Infinitum get a special rank that is all the permissions of their base rank, the base rank which is always anchored in Discord. What we see there, for example, Vidario is a lieutenant. As a champion, he is champion lieutenant. So champions get their name in the hierarchy on the list when you look at Lodestone's roster, just above the others of that rank, and then they have all the same permissions. Nothing changes like organizationally, but they get that special little marker on their name that's on the roster in game as well to kind of show that that's our champ, as well as continuing to defend that title for as long as possible. So the Infinitum Championship has been going since 2016, and the other fun thing is that all of our champions get documented on the champions page on the website, where we have a sort of Hall of Fame for past champions. Very, very cool. So you can go and see our past champs and read descriptions about past PvP battles, past tournaments, and see which champion was champ for how long and when they reigned on azureinfinitum.com/champions. It's also under the community tab if you go to the nav bar on the community site on azureinfinitum.com. So that's the cool thing. A little graphic, become immortalized on the website, as well as get that special rank. And the big prize pot is also cool, even if you don't win the title match. Now, Vidario is pretty tough. He has laid waste to many opponents so far. You can also catch him on our Super Azure Slayer Sunday PvP events, where we run Frontlines and Crystalline Conflict every other Sunday, every second and fourth Sunday. Often Vidario is happy to give PvP tips. He loves walking people through things and showing them the way how to maximize their classes in PvP. Also, keep in mind that we don't do tanks during the tournament, so this is strictly DPS, and some healers are allowed. So there will be information posted on that when we get closer. But that is at the end of March. So beginning February, tomorrow, there'll be a whole 2 months until we get to that point. Not a bad time to pop into, the 4 Slayer Sundays that we have coming up, and before then, get to know our champ, get to know some PvP if you haven't already. Also, don't forget that PvP is not synced. I mean, it's synced. It's not based off gear and item level, and you don't have to worry about any of that. It's actually more simplified than ever, but it's very fun, and learning to master those classes in PvP can be a lot different than learning to master them for regular, content. So it's going to be very exciting. Even if you're not super confident and you want to just, try your hand at it, you never know. We've had people who came in and fought and got really far, much farther than they thought they would in the tournament. And it's a lot of fun. And, we also do need more bodies to show up for these, because that also makes a bigger tournament too. So it'd be really awesome just to see, a lot of people come to participate and, have a good time. And we might even, figure out a little bit more on the rewards side of things when we get there. So we're going to make it a big fun event. It's going to be recorded, and it is the 30th one, so it's kind of a milestone in our history for running PvP tournaments. And also Infinitum Reserve Corps, as well as our any of our extended members through that sort of thing. Our alliance, the Infinitum Alliance members, are also welcome to come participate. We've had some pretty strong allies in the past that have made it very far and nearly won the tournament before. I'm excited to see who will rise to the top this time and take on Vidario. Very, very exciting. In the 30th tournament and the 1-year anniversary of his reign. Exciting stuff. Once again, that's going to be on the weekend of March 28th and 29th for Azure Day Week in March. Also, Azure Day Week in March stuff will start coming up quite a bit once we get towards March. I already see vid is mid chance. I don't know. We'll see. Also, something very fun that will be taking place in March, recently discussed at our most recent Azure Council meeting. We would like to announce, for right now, a little bit of information with more coming next month. Azure Beastmaster Glamour and Screenshot Contest. So to celebrate the upcoming release of the Beastmaster job in Final Fantasy XIV, we would like to have a Beastmaster-themed Glamour and Screenshot Contest. So the Screenshot Contest is going to be group-based and last all throughout the month of March until Azure Day weekend. The actual singles category, that will be during the Azure Glamour contest show that we have during Azure Day weekend. So again, group Beastmasters. However, our members want to arrange a screenshot. Maybe they want to get a group together, or you want to spend the next month or two hunting gear that is going to have that feel. Now, there's still a lot of details we don't know about Beastmaster, but generally in Final Fantasy, there's enough data on past Beastmasters to look up these things. Whether it's someone with kind of a wearing a lot of furs and using a certain style or weapon or something to kind of make it look like they're a tamer type character or something like that. I know we can get really creative, and I thought it would be a great idea. Roken came up with this idea as well, and we talked about it at the council meeting. So we're going to have a lot of fun seeing the entries and the creativities of this contest. So, and the Glamour show, of course, when we get there. Now, we also have a really cool catwalk stage. We have an event venue estate with all the audience chairs and stage and everything. So it's going to be very, very cool when we get to the walk-on singles contest as well as the screenshot contest. Now, the screenshot contest will be held in a Discord channel that's going to show up at the very start of March. So we got a few weeks until then. I'm going to get through February 1st. And then after February, that will begin. So more information on that, more details on the contests themselves, when things are starting and when they're going to be finalized. It's all going to be posted in our announcements channel and on our website. So please look forward to it. Oh, and one more thing, too. February's assembly, which you'll see on the roadmap graphic for February and also announced in announcements channel. That assembly next month will have all the details as well. Now, one thing that some people across our community may have heard more about in VC channels as we've been chatting about it quite a bit is the Infinitum Reserve Core project, as well as something that was called Azure Limitum. Now, first off, I have to formally explain and announce the Infinitum Reserve Core. We wanted to get this to a certain point before making a official formal announcement. There's been a couple semi-formal mentions of it before, but basically what we have right now is a cross-world link shell for Azure. I believe we're going to have to do more than one in the future because they're kind of small. 60-something people is small to us. We have it. We call it the Infinitum Reserve Core, and the idea behind it is when the server is locked, especially, it allows us to add people to a cross-world link shell who are able to communicate with a number of scouts and council and other cross-world link shell members as a sort of extension of the FC. So maybe they can't join Midgard because it's closed when the time comes, when it's closed, and it was closed until just the other day. And then when it opens, the whole point is to then join. So we will be advertising region-wide for this thing, as well as providing an actual FC that is a mini FC, and we've chosen Maduin server for that mini FC, which we were calling Azure Limitum until recently. We would like for it to match the Reserve Core link shell, because the Reserve Core link shell will be given out to the Reserve Core FC members until they can come over to Midgard-Stormer. And of course, if you're a Infinitum Reserve Core member and you've already come to Midgard-Stormer, you don't have to, but I recommend dropping the cross-world shell so that we'll have room for more people to join it when we do. But it's not like at cap yet, so it's not that big of a deal. But again, we have a cross-world link shell. This can only be used or seen when you're on Ether. As long as you're on Ether, which when the server's closed, people can still visit Ether. There are times during prime time where it doesn't allow you. But it's something that's at least a way for us to address. Like I mentioned at the start of the assembly, we're looking for more ways to address many people who want to join. We've had a lot of awesome people who have come into Discord, become FF14 community members and extended members of Azure through that. And then we've also seen a portion of those recent recruits that have poured in the last few days who were, wonderful extended members for a very long time. Some of them going back to the middle of last year, before we even had this, to offer them. So why the FC on Maduin server? Well, Maduin has a preferred plus EXP bonus. Very, very good for people who are starting the game and can't get into Midgard, when it inevitably closes. And also, we'll be providing the buffs there. And the whole, 9 yards of as far as, chest, opportunity to, use gardens and little things like that they're not going to get if they don't have an FC, or, maybe they want a little bit of that Azure, flair and helpfulness, but as an extension over there. And that place will probably never see congestion because, as we all know, Dynamis is pretty dead in a lot of places. So it is really awesome that so many people who were in Limitum as well, or we called it Limitum, it's now Infinitum Reserve Corps FC, people who were there were able to come over, and then also folks from the Crossworld Link Shell were able to come over. It's pretty dead, yeah. I mean, Seraph has got a lot of people, but the rest of it's pretty dead, yeah. So this is something we're going to continue, and of course, right now it's still being worked on, even while Midgard is open, because you do have folks that have transferred to Maduin before the server opened, and there is a 90-day lockout. So, be cautious of that if, you're sending alt there, or, recommend it to somebody. Yeah, 90 days is pretty crazy, but that's what it is, unfortunately. Recently we had, a situation where we were trying to move some characters over, but they were on a 30-day timer, and then we, exploded that FC in order to try to get them over, and it didn't work. And, because we found out about the 90-day lockout for transfers. So just keep that in mind, that's a thing. But yes, so this is kind of a thing that we're proud of because, again, people who are not in the FC can join from across Final Fantasy XIV into our Discord. As long as they're in the NA region, they can join the Reserve Corps Link Shell, or they can join the Infinitum Reserve Corps FC. And it's pretty awesome. And we've got, some scouts and council who are helping out with that project and checking on it for those folks. Even if it's just 1 or 2 people for a while, that would still matter to us. We want to make sure that our friends and our extended members still have some resources that they can access. And I know that a lot of communities would probably not go this far, but we're a little different. So we're going to try to make this work. Now, the idea is also not to build an entire separate community or giant FC on another server. We're not going to do that. That's not the point. If a lot of people join it, well, that's great. They can come over. But the whole point is to come over when it's open. So we want to make sure that that's, heavily known, because if, someone's in there and they never come over to Midgard while it's open, they're just not going to get a lot of the benefits of Azure. They might get some buffs and things like that, but we're not actively recruiting on Maduin per se. This is just an option because, like, for example, I'll give you one example. We'll move on to the next subject. We had somebody who joined Destiny and they're like, man, I'd love to play 14 with you guys. Okay, well, Midgard was closed. So what was their option? Do you guys recommend a server? Yes, we recommend Maduin. And then they show up there, they get the preferred EXP plus bonus. And then, of course, if they were in another server, they would get a free transfer from a congested server to Maduin, which is also cool. But of course, with the 90-day lockout, sadly. So there's a few people that this served pretty well. And again, the Crossworld Link Shell is an excuse me. Crossworld Link Shell is another great way for us to recruit across Ether. So once in a while, you might see an ad or a shout that does talk about Infinitum Reserve Corps. And now you know what it is. That we are recruiting region-wide recruitment. This may also ramp up a little bit as well in the times that come, as we fine-tune things. Like I said, this is a big fine-tuning year. I've already done some practice shout runs across Ether, in every zone of the game, in every Ether server. And it's really been nice to see people, oh, hey, I'd like to give that a shot. Well, now they can transfer. But the ability to transfer, like I said, once again, it is going to end at some point. Last time it was only 2 weeks. So at least when it does close, we'll have some options for folks that want to enjoy Azure services, as well as be in Reserve Core Link Shell, be able to chat with us in game through that Link Shell, but also the Madu and FC is another option. Now, someone is welcome to be in any FC they want to be in and also be in the Infinitum Reserve Core. There's nothing wrong with that either. We've also got a couple people who love their FCs, but they also really like Azure and they want to be connected through the Reserve Core Link Shell, but also stay in their server. That's also fine. They can also be an extended member, be in our Discord, take the community member role, the FF14 role. And if they don't have the FC member role, they can still be considered a community member of Azure and still come to our events. So this is also going to help increase event attendance and, be massive for us making, new friends and kind of spreading even further. So very, very cool. Very, very cool. But again, ultimately, the goal is to get people over and get them within the FC, because you get the most benefits from being in the FC. And we've had some folks that were emotional to get in here who had been waiting for, upwards of a year, some 5-6 months, some 9 months. And it was very, very touching to see them finally be able to make it. And it came at a surprise. We did not know Midgard was going to open up. A lot of us thought this was only possible on a big patch when maintenance happens, but it can also happen on a smaller patch too, as we just saw. So it's fantastic. And I love the fact that we've made so many cool new faces just in this last week alone. It's awesome. And lastly about that, if anybody does want to help out with that by just adding their activity, if you like to, if you're a chatterbox or you like to help people and you're not a scout, or maybe you are a scout or a leader and you want to, come along and just join one of those, you want to put an alt in the Reserve Core FC, or you want to put a character in the Link Shell, all you have to do is say the word. Because we'll also need people that are currently in the Azure FC to, be there to talk with those who are getting to know us for the first time. So we've got a little bit of talk coming up about our Azure wings, some needs of the overall community, including needs in here in 14, as well as a little bit about some of our online services and a little talk about our Assist Core. And before we get to those fun topics, let's do our second raffle here. And don't forget, we do have a Q&A after the next phase, so, we want to make sure that we answer any questions. If anybody's got Eternal Bond announcements, statics, they're looking for members for statics, anything like that is a good time for that Q&A. So that'll be here pretty soon. So that being said, if you'd like to enter the raffle again, our second prize from the Azure prize pool, go ahead and /random in-game now. Put a 3-digit number in any of the chats, Twitch chat, Grand Assembly VC chat, or the chat in-game via /random. That's a 3-digit number on Twitch or Grand Assembly chat or a /random in-game. Thank you, Cato, for the sparklies. Love it. All right, lots of entries coming in. Very nice. Okay. See numbers popping up everywhere. Well, we've had a lot of exciting things to talk about so far. I know, I'm really looking forward to March. Here in 14, we've got Valentine's Day coming up. That's the Valentine's seasonal for FF14. Anybody doing anything fun for Valentine's Day? Don't forget that V-Day is also awesome, not just for candy or for couples, but for friends as well. Spend time with fellow FC mates, have some fun. Do the seasonal quest together. That's a lot of fun. I know I like to go do the seasonal quests and read all the voices and voice act it myself. That's a lot of fun. Especially with a friend, that's a lot of fun. For me, because I'm weird, and I like doing that. One time, we did the All Saints Wake Halloween one, and a friend and I did the Ghost's voice and Goku and Vegeta's voice, and it was very funny. Do a great Vegeta impression, by the way. I'm not going to do it here. All right, we're just going to give this a little bit longer. If anybody else wants to enter, don't forget to roll now. The next prize from the Azure prize pool, followed by the final raffle here in a little bit after the next announcements. That's the big gear set, big pentamelded set. This one is our prize pool, random prize pool item. I'm so glad that someone mentioned ranch. Thank you, Righteous. Ranch is quite righteous, in my opinion. It's the best sauce. I love you guys. Okay, we're going to slash random here. So, the number closest to my number that I roll is going to win the prize. And that goes for all of our chats. So here we go. Number going out in-game. Whoops, started typing in the other chat there. Okay. All right, 652. 652. One moment while we take a look at all the chats. We have a 600 somewhere. I don't see any so far. 2, 4. Okay, any low 700s or... Mine was 652. We have a couple 700s. Let me see here. So the 700s are definitely closer. I don't see any high 500s. Oh, I see a mid 500, but that's not as close as... So let's see, 52... 48 plus 35. Okay. It's 83 away. I see Leaf at 83 away. I'm trying to look at multiple screens here. Okay. Goob was almost 100 away. Let me see. That's 3, 2, 5. Yeah. It's looking to me like Leaf It. I want to be sure though. I think that's right. Making sure there's no other ones here. Let me see. No. Yeah, okay. It does, yeah. That it would be Leaf It. Congratulations, Leaf It. Alright, where's our Leaf It? Let's see. Are you here at the hall? Oh. Oh, there's Leaf It. Alright. Congratulations, you've got a torch from the depths of maps, as well as a nice pair of glasses. Enjoy. The torch is a pretty cool item. You can use it, and it gives you the little torch fashion accessory you can hold out. It's pretty cool. Great for lighting up dark caves, or you can always grab a pitchfork to go with it and go go to the beast's castle. Sing a merry tune on the way there. It's the first thing that popped in my head. Okay. All right, guys. Let's go to our last announcements here for the assembly. After that, again, will be our Q&A round as well. Okay, let's talk a little bit about our Azure wings, current statuses and needs. So a lot of this, we will still be talking about 14 stuff here shortly, but this is a segment where we are going to talk about what's going on in our wings. And we have a lot of people that are in multiple games, as well as maybe just one or another. Plenty that are just in 14, and folks that are, kind of helping lead the charge, and some others as well. So we want to, take this moment to kind of discuss that, as this video, as well as this assembly, is being streamed all the way across our network. Folks even in other games, could be watching as well. So the Azure wings themselves, I want to start with the basics here. We have a lot of new people as well. So the Azure wings is our term for our guilds, our Azure Infinitum guilds and other games. We are a gaming community. This is the gaming community of Azure Network. So you can see the chats in our Discord that go with those games that we consider our wings. Now, there might be Azure Infinitums that are created in games that we don't consider like a wing game. Maybe we just wanted to have the name in that game in case we ever made it a wing, and such. So a wing is official when it has a chat channel and it gets regular updates from us. Now, I know some of my news posts that I normally do were kind of delayed this month due to the illness that I went through this month. That's, about to change very soon. I'm getting better. But basically there's roles in the role select channel as well. We have a guild role that is given out when recruited, as well as a game role for those that want updates for said game wing, or wing game, I should say. So our wings officially are Elder Scrolls Online, Guild Wars 2, Star Wars: The Old Republic, Star Citizen, Destiny 2. We do have a Monster Hunter wing, and of course, World of Warcraft. I mentioned that already. I don't know if I mentioned that. And like I said, we recently dropped Throne of Liberty and Star Ocean. So the nice thing too about our community is, as Azure grows, we're able to kind of mobilize, right, when like a new game comes out that's really neat, and say it's got clan features. Well, how awesome is it that we do have a clan tag? We have a couple different clan tags that can be assigned to whatever game you play. Maybe there's a game that doesn't have a clan system but allows you to put a clan tag in. Well, you can always use, AZURE for the... my cat is picking on something. It's very distracting. You can use AZURE for the Azure tag, as well as AZUR for the Azure tag. When we're in a wing, of course, you'll have that guild information attached to you by joining said wing. But what's great is, of course, when something new comes out, as long as it is a viable, long-term game that is something that we feel, okay, that's a developer that we know is going to be around. It's not some fly-by-night thing. Or early access is very risky as well. We've been there before. And it's just good for us to, be real sure when we pick something. We also want to make sure this is, that when we found a wing, that it's something that, again, not only going to be around a while, but we have enough people playing. And I can't tell you how many times, and it's awesome to see the enthusiasm. But many people have, oh, Rika, let's think about making a wing for this. Okay, well, there's 3 people playing it, and that's it. We can't even find another person doing it. That's one thing. If it's a really good game and that's happening, then we can always recruit. But it's really important for us to invest our time where there's at least, a good 10 people, or folks that are regularly coming back to something because it's got regular updates. Very, very good as well. Because we want to play together. The whole point is playing together as much as possible, as well as growing our community, continue to recruit and get to know new faces. But also, maybe there's times where people are like, well, I'm kind of burnt out on 14 or Destiny, and I kind of just want to like hang out in, Star Wars: The Old Republic, or go back to WoW for a little while. And that's where Azure really shines in our organization, because the goal ultimately is to get all of our wing games and those guilds, because most of those are really long-term games. World of Warcraft, very long-term. Elder Scrolls, very long-term. So, even if it's not right now, but later this year or next year, that these things are, bustling. That's good. That's very, very good for a community. So Akiyama mentioned something that I was just about to mention, is that we do indeed have the very starting foundation of what is going to be our Warframe wing. Now, we haven't moved into that before for whatever reason. That hasn't really been a good one. But there has been a surge in folks mentioning interest in playing Warframe with Azure, as well as this being a game that's now been out now for a while. It's also very free to play. It's probably one of the best free to play games that there is. The amount of stuff that you can do in it without even spending any money at all is amazing. And if we actually mobilize this and make it an official wing, which it's on the way to being, stay tuned for that announcement. Then I think there's a lot we can do with it, especially because even more so than some of our other current wings, do we have the people who are passionate about this game, about Warframe. Now, maybe Warframe isn't for you, and you've tried it before, and you were like, not really my thing. But there are a lot of people who really like this game. And we already, in secret, kind of, unless you've been hanging out with us in VC, we have already created the guild hall and have a ton of resources that's in the works right now. There's a dry dock. There's a place you can go already. We've set up the bank. There's a lot of stuff that's been going already that was kind of in secret in preparation for this announcement. So I do want to thank a couple people for their advice and involvement. A big one is going to be Asselin, who has done the most work on this Warframe wing. I might as well just call it the wing at this point. And he's put a lot of work into getting this going. And I also want to thank Dorian as well for the some of the tips and advice that he's given me as well. We've also really been anticipating this and was excited to announce it. So it is a really, really cool game. I myself tried it in the very beginning, and in the beginning it wasn't really my thing. And like Rogan said, there's no pressure. If you've got a guild or something that you really, really like, I mean, you could also friend each other and, play together as well without being in the same guild. But we're going to, make this happen, and it's going to be a thing. So I don't know how far it will go with like events and stuff. It depends on how many people we have. So the more people that join our wings, no matter what wing it is of Azure, the more that becomes possible. So even if we have a small group at first who wants to do things on at least a weekly basis, like once a week, get together and have some fun, kind of like we do with Destiny. We've got 2 events a week. I'll actually talk about Destiny in a second too. It just depends, no matter what game it is. We have a tight-knit group in Star Citizen that, makes it count over in the Azure Legion. And that's a game that, is in early access, but does have a lot of, stuff you can do as clans already. Surprise. We're going to be, heading into Warframe. That's a little bit about our Azure wings. There are online pages for them as well. You can even favorite the individual pages for each wing. On our website, you can click the wing tab and actually scroll down the list of Azure wings, and there is a regular news feed for each wing that I've created that has little, thumbnails and snippets from the posts that I make for each of those. And so the goal is to keep a regular feed of news going that's not only community content and, screenshots you guys might share and, stuff that we might feature. There might be game news updates and things like that. And this is on top of this is Azure created news. This is on top of the stuff that's been subscribed for the channels that have been updating in like WoW and ESO and stuff like that. But it'll continue to post, community content on our socials as well, which we have a lot of socials set up for Azure Infinitum. And what we need, I think, the most right now, besides, people who are interested in these or want to try these or give these a shot, is also what we call pathfinders and wing commanders. So people might be wondering, well, how in the world can Reka or Azure manage like 10 or 11 guilds at one time? Well, the idea is that when they're up and coming, they start off casual. And then, of course, recruitment and activities ramp up as we go. The more people that join that are of the assist rank, the Azure Scout Squad Initiative and Support Team, aka Scouts and up, as well as the council, anybody that does happen to be in council that are in these, are absolutely welcome to take on, positions to help spearhead the guild. Obviously, I can only be spread in so many places at once, although I do pretty well at that with many devices that I have. I have many screens and computers running that has a lot of our, chats and different worlds going, so I can, keep an eye on at least a few games at one time. But the goal is to assign Pathfinders who become wing commanders. And like I said, these are folks that can be scout rank and up that help us drive these things forward. Whether you've got advice about a certain game, or maybe you know more about how guilds work in those, and you're interested in said game, we definitely want to hear from you, because the more Pathfinders and wing commanders that we have in Azure Infinitum, the more chances that we have to grow each and every guild, and also start hosting events too. So this also creates a lot of opportunities. If you're passionate about any of our wing games, and you decide that you would like to help, or help organize something, or help us build the chest resources in these games, help us recruit, in whatever way, there's opportunities to step up into scout rank and higher if you're interested. And of course, in our structure, ranking up is never expected or mandatory. It is required for certain permissions, of course, but even just have a few people who are knowledgeable about something, and helping is what we call Pathfinders, which is kind of our word for junior wing commander. Wing commanders are scout captains and up, who are official hosts of events and kind of the guild masters in those games of those Azure wings. Although, of course, I have to own these, individual properties of Azure so that we don't lose them. We've had that problem a couple times in the past, which is what happened to our original Guild Wars 2 guild. But yeah, any volunteers, anybody interested in stepping up to help in any form at all is extremely appreciated, and that's what we need more of. Until we have more Pathfinders and wing commanders, I have to kind of just manage rosters, check on things, provide buffs in whatever games, and just kind of keep a casual, eye on the chat and do whatever I can. And that's going to be limited because, of course, our FF14 core, as we call it, this is our core. So one, I want everyone to be reassured that wings will never overtake like us and our priority here in 14. Like, we want our 14 members to know that this is priority. But I also want our wing members, many here who are also in those wings, and the people who join those wings inevitably who are not in 14, I want them to also be reassured that we do care about making sure that those become viable communities, and the whole model that we've built for Azure that works so well gets, translated to each game in whatever those games have needs. We want to keep on this, and this is a very long-term thing, and maybe not all of them will be around as long as like 14 or WoW, but some of these are, 5-10 years in, and they're going strong. They're, backed by companies that have, 10 more years of plans for them. And there's just a lot of exciting stuff. So this also helps burnout, which is so awesome, because if you get burnout on one, maybe you're like, well, I'd really love to play with my Azure friends over in this other thing. Oh, there they are. They're there. And because we have a universal ranks system and universal rule system, everything in our entire universe of worlds and properties kind of all work in a similar way. So 15-minute groupings, show up at whatever guild hall that we have. We might have, there might be assemblies taking place here and in another place one day when I log in on, 3 or 4 different Rekas. But for right now, some of them are individually kind of casual. I was going to go down the list. So we did bring back Destiny 2 events recently. They were off for a few months as we were kind of sorting out some plans for the clan. We brought recruitment back for the clan. The new expansion hit in December, which is really, really cool. It's a Star Wars themed expansion. You get your own lightsaber. There's all kinds of cool references to the movies, the good ones. And, that being said, like, it's been really exciting to play Destiny 2 Renegades. Now, the one before that was a little, meh, but Renegades has been very cool. And it's been awesome seeing the Azure Wardens start to come back together and do more things together. Now, we all know that Destiny content is usually 3- and 6-man content, so you don't need a lot of people during events to really make stuff happen. But the more the merrier, and the more groups we can form, even better. So our clan is almost to the clan cap of 100, so we're going to be instituting a inactivity policy for the Destiny 2 clan very soon. There will be some details on that. So if you haven't logged in like 3 years, might be a good time to do so if you want to keep your spot in the Destiny 2 clan. And we'll be announcing that detail soon. We want it to be forgiving, since, we know that people will sit out for a season or two. Maybe we'll pick, I don't know, a few months to be the limit, because we have a lot of folks, that the whole 100 number is not all, active all at the same time. But we do have a lot of active players, so we want to make sure that there is space there. As far as the events so far, due to me being sick this month, there's a lot that I did not attend with Destiny 2, especially coming off of its hiatus for events. And I wanted to, apologize for that absence, but also a big thank you and shout out to Gooblin and Asselin, who have been there as scouts, representing as scouts, finding things to do with our members of our Destiny clan. And kind of holding that line, without a wing commander or my own presence when we've just brought those back. So huge shout out to those two guys. Now, over in Star Citizen, the Azure Legion is ever slowly growing. We are trying to recruit more there. We know that there are a lot of opinions that are good, either really, really, really super good or really bad about the game. But know that with its recent updates, the stability has improved tremendously. I've had a lot of amazing sessions that blew me away. I was very, very excited about, getting that game to work. It is an early access game. It's been in development for a historically long time. However, they do seem to be closer than ever, and they are also releasing a single-player game that ties in with the online game itself. Currently, there's a lot of stuff to do with the Legion, the the popular belief is that you need a lot of money to play it. That's not really true as far as playing it. Those who do sub to it actually do get a healthy amount of monthly things they can do or use. And of course, remember, as a clan, we have a lot of ships together as a clan. So we have stuff that we're able to share, use during event nights and other things. And it's a lot more fun. Just like any game, it's a lot more fun to play in a group than it is to be totally alone. So I just wanted to give that one a little bit of a shout out. We are kind of in the midst of changing the event day for it, which takes place Sundays, an hour after Super Azure Slayer Sunday in 14. It also takes place 2 hours, starts 2 hours before the Destiny 2 event on Sundays. As well, but it may be moving soon. There's a little bit of chat about that actually today in the channel, but it does a mixture of combat, deliveries, and mining. So maybe you're not feeling an MMORPG for a couple days and you're like, I want to go fly around in space and kind of have my daily life in space. So I'm going to wake up in my space apartment and get on a train and go to work in game and go mine for a while, or go make some deliveries and, be a smuggler for a few hours with the Azure Legion. You're welcome to do that. We have that. So that's going to be, growing over time. And when it does eventually fully release, there's going to be an absurd amount of things to do and a lot of fun there. And that game is very interesting. There's a lot of advanced tech going into that game that surprises me every time I play it. It feels next gen to me, especially with a flight sim setup. It's very cool. Ship nerds and sci-fi nerds will 100% love that game, even in its current state, which is a lot of stuff to do. But moving on, Elder Scrolls Online did have a cross-play announcement, which is very surprising. That means a lot to us because we have 2 Elder Scrolls Online guilds. We made one for PlayStation players and one for PC players. Obviously, there is a lot of people on PC. That's probably going to be the place that lasts the longest in the long term, meaning like Final Fantasy XI had its PlayStation version turned off way before PC. PC tends to outlast everything. But we still created one. I'm still going through the game twice on my character just so I can do all the things. And now that it has crossplay, we don't know really exactly how to address that. We don't know what that means 100%. There has been some data given on that. But we're uncertain as to the limits of what that entails. So we don't know if the way it looks right now is that PlayStation players may not be able to join a PC guild, but they can still play with PC people, which is great. So that might be the way it works, because if you're able to join a guild that was made on PC as a PlayStation player, then there's no reason for us to make to keep the two guilds. But we don't know that yet, and a couple questions have come up in the past few weeks since that live stream. So it depends on what that looks like when that crossplay comes. The game has been not crossplay for years, and it's been difficult for some people to play together. So just wanted to give a statement on that, since that is a question that has come up. Keep in mind that our ESO guilds are very, very, very casual. So it's there if you want to be in it, but it's very, very casual. It will remain casual for the time being, but we are, posting ads and bringing people in, and once in a while we get a few people who also play 14 in some other games and join us there too. And that's the beauty of having our game network, is that we're going to continue to meet folks who come in from different games and join us in 14 or join us in Destiny. Asselin found us through Destiny and ended up a scout sergeant here in 14. So very amazing, great example of, us as gamers, more than just, 14 players. Guild Wars 2 remains small. As I mentioned earlier, we did have to reboot it after losing it when it was owned by a past member, or past leader, I should say, who kind of just left everything and took it all. So we've been, not really putting a lot of work into it. We don't have the hall because it's I would consider it difficult in that game, because you can't just make a guild and buy a hall. There's a lot of stuff you got to do to work up to it, and we really haven't had that support over there. So it's in a state of infancy and somewhat dormancy, but there are people who are very passionate about Guild Wars 2 that are over there, including, a leader and a couple scouts. So, and a handful of members. We would really like to see that continue to take off in anticipation of Guild Wars 3, which is inevitable, but also the fact that that game also has a number of future expansions where they even said they're ramping them up to one a year. So yeah, we would love to see that grow. If anybody is passionate about Guild Wars 2 and wants to help out over there, please let us know. Star Wars: The Old Republic has been going very steady, actually. It's one of the easiest games for us to recruit for. It has had its days of ups and downs. However, being owned by Broadsword now, with BioWare devs that followed and went to work with it after its departure from EA for the past 2 years, has been pretty neat. There's been a lot of game modernization updates, graphical updates. It does seem that it's on the way to the next expansion. And as a guild over in Star Wars: The Old Republic, we have been asking our members to obtain weekly encryptions for the flagship bonuses and extra buffs that we can provide. These are month-long buffs. If we get it all unlocked, we'll have even more buffs that we can provide. And this is a very it's a very alt-friendly game. This game, actually, Star Wars: The Old Republic, has additional abilities that you can, cross-class over to different classes as you've done different stories on different characters. Very, very cool. So people are going to need those buffs. And currently, we are Republic side only. Still no word really right now if we want to go Sith and Republic, because that also takes, extra management. And I know I've heard and seen the groans of people who have favorite Sith characters they would love to put in, but they can't because of the limitation, and I understand completely. This is just what we started with, and we want to make sure it's in a good place before we take on any more. So, especially because it is a wing and we don't have a lot of help with it. So, but it is definitely probably, I'd say I would rank it under D2 as far as its success with Azure. But more successful than a lot of other wings. So if you are in our SOTOR guild and you're one of the good 50 or so people who play over there in Azure, we would really like to ask that you focus on getting those weekly encryptions. This can happen pretty much automatically as you do anything in the game and get conquest points. You just look at hit the L key and look at your list and look at the conquest tab and just get those encryptions, and that will basically give it to the guild, so that way it's only for that command encryption specifically. Thank you, Asselin. Command encryptions. Asselin is our scout pathfinder, who's been advising and giving us a lot of advice for getting that set up and finalized. We do have a stronghold, which is a guild hall in Star Wars: The Old Republic. We've chosen Alderaan as the home base for Azure Infinitum. And I know, those who know the movies, yes, the entire planet explodes in episode 4. But that's not for a few thousand years, at least, from where it's at in SOTOR. So we have a beautiful guild hall there. Thank you again, Aslan, for helping out tremendously with that. And it is very Azure aesthetic, and it's very, very cool. We've also got the flagship, which we actually move a lot for, conquest and invasions. Currently focusing on whatever, the best invasion bonuses are for our guild when those times come. They're usually once a week or so, every so many days. And people who are, doing stuff on those planets get a nice bonus to those invasions as well. So unfortunately, you have to ask for an invite, and we have to hop on and get you. But if you want to join us in SOTOR, please don't hesitate to ask, and we'll hop on. Usually me or Aslan can get on almost any time of day. I've always got it open off to the side on another laptop, so it's usually never on my main PC, but it's on one of my side PCs or laptops. So you can always hop on and pick you guys up if you want to get in. Again, that's Republic only right now. For Monster Hunter, almost done with Wing Talk here, but for Monster Hunter, I did want to mention that, someone said something earlier that I noticed. I caught it, and I actually have been thinking of this too. So it was really funny that was mentioned. We've had a Monster Hunter wing now for a while. It's come and gone a couple times. This started with Monster Hunter 4G Ultimate back in the day when we very first founded Azure. We actually had people using like a ad hoc thing to be able to get their DSs connected to play together. It was really, really cool. That was when we first founded the community in 2014. A couple of years later, we had someone that volunteered to help run Monster Hunter World in 2018 when that came out. It was really, really cool to have all those adventures and progress through Monster Hunter World the way that we did as a community. And then, of course, when Iceborne came out and, we had another resurgence of Monster Hunter World stuff going on in 2021, 2020, 2021. And then Rise came out, and we did a lot of stuff in Rise. Rise was harder for us to group for, being originally only on Switch. And then, of course, having a different form of popularity than World and Wilds has had, but with the announcement of Wilds, we brought it back once again. Now we did delete the old Monster Hunter channel because it went several years without being really used, but we revived it, and we intended for it to stay. So with the current Monster Hunter chat channel in our Azure wings, now that Wilds has reached a point where our Wilds clan, we're currently capped at 50. We can make room if somebody wants in. There's usually one or two that haven't been on in a very long time, but a lot of people lately I've seen getting on at least once a week or every couple weeks, maybe once a month at this point. There probably will be an expansion at some point, which will be kind of have the same effect that World had, where a big resurgence of activity. But until then, it's on an indefinite hiatus for us. So if you're part of that clan, and you want to see events come back, we're going to need to see a good amount of people playing again. The events that we did have throughout most of last year were pretty fun. We ranged in attendance, but we definitely had fun doing events together and all kinds of stuff there. The in-game events, seasonals and event quests and stuff like that. There's a lot of very, very passionate Monster Hunter people in our community who love to share information, help, and if you're getting into Wilds, especially if you're on console where it seems to work the best, it's definitely a channel you want to chat in if you need any help or want to ask questions. Like I said, there's several people who could tell you just about anything about Monster Hunter here in Azure. Now, like I said, once again, if they do announce an expansion, we will most likely mobilize to have a weekly event again for it. But the idea for it, the thing that I was thinking earlier that someone said, is actually this. We want it to stick around permanently, pretty much no matter what. So even if we don't do weekly events for it, while, the series is seeing a low point or there's no new content in it, eventually we know that there's going to be another Monster Hunter, right? So whether it's a side series or something like that, any major Monster Hunter game that has multiplayer, that people, or if you just want to chat about the series, we're going to leave that, that chat there. Because it's basically for the series, not just for Wilds. So, if you want to go back and play World or Rise with people, please use the Monster Hunter chat or type in the Hunters Forum. We have a Hunters Forum here in Discord. You might say, well, I didn't get to experience Iceborne back in the day, and I would like to play it with someone. I guarantee there's someone here who would love to play that again with you. So please use the Hunters Forum like an LFG channel for any Monster Hunter game. I don't know if you can get anybody to play, Monster Hunter 2 with you, but at least the last few big entries, I'm pretty sure, because we got people who go back and play the old ones all the time. So we're going to be leaving that there despite, whether the series is, having a new game or not. And I'm glad, you know who you are. I'm glad you mentioned that earlier. I've been thinking that for a while. Now, World of Warcraft is the last wing I'm going to mention. It's actually the last one on the list. It is available. It is small. There are plans for it to grow and recruit a little bit more during and leading up to the highly anticipated Midnight expansion. This is something that kind of happened on the side and has been requested for a very long time. So we've had many people who enjoy World of Warcraft and, whether they play it casually or whether they play it as much as they play 14. They've been asking for years, if we would do this for Azure. Well, it kind of makes sense because this is a major MMO, right? It's not everybody's, some people it is their favorite. Other people, aren't as fond of it. It did surprise me when I actually got into it a little bit, because I had not given WoW a chance in my life. And I was very, very pleasantly surprised at some things that, the idea here in 14 is that, 14 killed WoW and it's like dead and it's old and worn out and all this. None of that's true. Absolutely none of that is true. I found out for myself. It is a very alive, living, breathing MMO with a lot of cool stuff going on. And they're doing a lot of stuff all the time. It's almost so much content you can't hardly keep up with it. It's very cool. Not in a bad way, just a very good way. So we had a wing get formed, and I said, well, last year there was someone I was working with to make it and learn from them some things, and I said, well, why not? Even if it's not like something we hard focus right away, this would probably be a good idea to at least have, so that way we don't have the problem we had in the past. In the past, we had a problem where people would just make it and name a guild after Azure, because I'd say, oh yeah, I don't care, we're never going to go there, blah, blah, blah. And then it would fall apart or the name would get used or, whatever. So I was like, okay, if we're going to have one, let me at least, get through some of the content, put a Reka in there and then anchor it down, put our ranks in there, make it official, and then actually start supporting it. So that way, if we have members who play, they can go join it. Now, I can't promise heavy activity. I can't promise a lot of events or things like that, at least at this point. But we did pick Moonguard as our server, and it doesn't matter really what server you're on, per se. They've got this new thing, or maybe it's not new, I don't know. It's new to me, where you join someone's party and like the whole thing, like there's no data transfer. There's no data center transfer it's not transfer, I'm sorry, travel, like Final Fantasy 14. The game just sort of meshes you into that server and you just appear there. Like, it's really crazy. I wish 14 had that. That'd be really cool. We wouldn't have to go all the way out to the menu to data center travel. Yeah, and it's a Horde and Alliance guild. So bring any character you want. We would love to see more people applying to it, because I know that the more the merrier. We got about 25 people or something like that. That's not like nothing, but it still is a start. And the more folks playing WoW that might want to come over there, it's gonna I treat it as kind of like a Saturday morning cartoon. It's very different, which makes it kind of refreshing from everything else that I play. And there's so much that they've done to it now where, you can casually just plow through so much stuff and enjoy it instead of being like, really stressed and dealing with a lot of toxicity, which I've noticed has died down tremendously in a lot of places. I don't know about the raid scene. I don't know. I have no idea. Probably not. But I do know that a lot of people have said that it's nothing like it was in terms of toxicity. I mean, every game's going to have its, toxicity. But I know that from what I've seen, I was very surprised. When I first got into playing it about a year and a half ago, which I know is nothing in the long-term span of an MMO, I almost was afraid to ask for help. I was like going to ask a question in chat, and I hit enter, and I like almost winced because I heard the stories. You know, I've heard the stories, and there was like all these people that reached out to help, and I was like, whoa, people are nice here. Cool. All right. Now, Moonguard is an RP server. There's a lot of, you know, it's kind of like the Balmung of WoW in a sense, and Balmung gets compared to not just Moonguard, but, you know, the famous Goldshire Inn activities, if you know. But that doesn't mean the whole server is like that. It actually means that it's an extremely popular, famous server with a lot of people. So that's a good thing for us when we need, you know, people to play with. So yeah, it's it's, you know, it's got its stories, but like I said, it's been a pleasant surprise. So it is there. Like I said, you know, I don't want anybody to join it and expect the same, like, you know, super active chats like we have in Azure, at least right now off the bat. But if you're there with us and you don't have another guild, you know, it would be great to have you there as well as we build that, because I think in the future, WoW will actually become one of our most viable MMOs because it's World of Warcraft. It's actually strange that we've got some games that are like not as prolific but doing better than that right now, and I think that's only a result of the fact that we just don't have enough folks over there playing. Now with the current stuff that's coming out, there's a lot of exciting stuff in the story, big cosmic battles, and, you know, going into the void and all this stuff that's coming out. And you know, I don't even know much about WoW, and it's been kind of exciting to try out. So you know, not to spend a long time talking about World of Warcraft here, but I do want people to know that we have that wing. It's a newerish wing, and a lot of us that you know are in it are actually veterans, and, you know, and I'm the newbie over there. So, but if we do have any passionate players in WoW, or people that, you know, would like to just you know, throw a character in. Again, WoW is a game kind of like SOTOR, where you need you don't really cross-class your skills like SOTOR, but you do have a different character that you need if you want to play a different class. So a lot of people have a lot of different characters. So it is totally, you know, totally up to you guys if there's anybody that's interested, or even you just want to try it. Like I said, Midnight's out, the Midnight beta is going, and then it's going to release March 2nd. So kind of exciting, big expansion coming in March. You know, maybe you've never tried it before or want to go back after many years, you know, and check it out. But remember, with Azure, it is a little bit different. You know, and if we can get more people from Azure over there, you know, who will actually, you know, check it out and play it on a semi-regular basis, you know, then maybe we can start doing stuff together as a group over there as well. This will not take away from 14 whatsoever. You know, we try our very best to schedule other games events in between the stuff we do in 14, because we know we're going to have the most in 14. So, you know, in the future, and I mean, this is like future, could be a year from now, unless we have a burst of, you know, members all of a sudden, in every game, I could see some stuff overlapping in the future, and then you'll have to decide, like, you know, what, you know, events you want to go to. But I think that we really care about, making sure that we kind of season our week with things that are very different and kind of not at the same time as much as possible. So if we have a PvP event, for example, we don't want to put a PvP event in one game at the same time as a PvP event in another game. We might want to mix it up a little bit, because that also gives our members who are in multiple games a chance to kind of, like, you know, choose. The other idea too is that we also wanted to host some game nights that are not wings. Maybe a fighting game night or something like that once in a while. You know, fighting, racing, there's a lot of other stuff we can do. We have this whole gaming community at our, you know, disposal to be able to do fun stuff together. And we've got a lot of fighting game fans in our community as well. You know, something like a Guilty Gear or Street Fighter night or something. Maybe something like Smash Bros at some point. I don't know. The idea is very, you know, it's a very broad thing that we can pick. And even maybe supply some kind of rewards as well, some fun prizes or something. But these are all things that we're thinking of, you know, for this year and going forward. And, you know, like I said, most of the needs that are in our wings come from just building, getting those guilds to be stronger. Things like the encryptions in SOTOR, or maybe just building up gold in WoW. So far, we've actually been able to pay a couple people subs in WoW using the WoW Gold, which is really cool. We built up a lot of gold last year, And that's something you can do in WoW. If you didn't know, you can use the in-game currency to pay for your sub. So very interesting that they allow that. That's very new to me. I've never seen anything like that before. I almost didn't believe it at first. I was like, wow, that's crazy. Yeah, wow. Yeah, so folks, we need folks. We need bodies. We need people in assist. We need pathfinders, wing commanders, everything that is needed to make guilds successful. And like I said, each thing is at its own point. There's stuff that's further along than other things, but overall, I think our wings are doing, good to start out. A lot of them are starting out. Okay, so lastly, I just wanted to talk about the overall needs and plans. Just a few things. In Final Fantasy XIV, we're in great need of grade 3 Shroud Soil. So if anybody has a gatherer and they want to go out to the node to get some grade 3 Shroud Soil, that will help tremendously. That's the soil that increases the yield. I think last assembly I incorrectly mentioned Thanalan soil, which is for crossbreeding, but we definitely need grade 3 Shroud Soil. So even if you just want to buy some and donate it, or if you want to go out and actually gather it and donate it, that would help us tremendously with our gardening projects here in FF14. That's grade 3 Shroud Soil for the gardens. We are also looking for more recruiters, not just assist members or scouts, but also people that are within assist or want to join assist. That's the Azure Scout Squad Initiative and Support Team, ASSIST, cleverly named, to join us to, really for any assist activity, whether it's just helping moderate chats, helping members, jumping into runs when people need things. If you are interested in helping recruit at all, you've got to be an assist. That would be really awesome. Sometimes we just need folks to pop FC shout advertisements in different zones. Also, we need folks that can handle applications, just, giving quick links to the rules page and welcoming people in for applications. Of course, the more they want to talk with them and things like that, the better. But, it's nice and helpful. And one other thing too is, something that we've had a couple times before, but I kind of think would be really great to see in the long run, is more volunteer writers, content contributors, folks that are either familiar with posting on social media or wouldn't mind writing articles on azurenet.com. The way I have things set up on that website, the website was originally founded in 2008 as a side project of mine to kind of cover like anime, games, music from Japan, Japanese culture, conventions, coverage and stuff like that. And over the years, it's had a few different evolutions. One, the biggest one, becoming AzureNet. It used to be Runaround Network. On that website, we have a system where you can actually log into it and post articles, news, reviews, even if it's like a 2-paragraph thing for, a game that's coming out you want to mention or write about. The more content, the better. These things will also go into our feeds that, show up on our social media feeds. They show up in the Discord. And it would just be like really awesome to have more volunteer contributors and writers as well. Another thing too is I've done this for a few people in the past. If you contribute anything to azurenet.com in the form of writing, it will go to a editor page that will have all of your articles showing the what you've contributed, and that can technically be used as a reference as well. Which I've done for people a few times. So if you want to come aboard the the editing team at AzureNet, it is a volunteer position, keep in mind. But it would be really, really nice. And you don't have to be an expert, to write about something that you're passionate for. Very, very little has to go into it. Just a couple pictures, some mentions of some articles. You could even be a reporter for things going on with the community. You could show up to events and take screenshots of our events and write about them online. Anything like that. Or say there's a new monster released in a game, Monster Hunter, and you want to write about it. There's all these cool things. Anime reviews. We need more of those. I post stuff like this all the time on there. That's what I've been doing for 17 years or so in the industry. I haven't done any active field work with press in a couple years since COVID and a lot of other stuff going on in my life. But I want to see Azure Net, the original like home of everything, continue to thrive and have a lot of content being posted. So right now we also share these things on our, let's see, oh gosh, there's a whole big list. Facebook, we have a page for every Azure wing, as well as the Azure Global page on Facebook. We got a good, 600 or 700 people over there. We've got our Azure Infinitum Twitter account, which is very active as well. Actually, these all have updates at the same time because I cross-post a lot. We recently opened the Azure TikTok, which has a combination of funny reels from our events as well as news. We've also got the Azure Infinitum Blue Sky account for those that may want to use that or see that. We've also got the Azure Infinitum Instagram, which is a kind of a form of microblogging our news and also screenshots, community content as well shows up there as also. You can also find us on Threads, which is basically a copy of our Twitter in a sense. And of course, let's see, do we have anything else? I know we do. We have an Azure Tumblr, and we do have an Azure, Pinterest as well, believe it or not. You can also get, bite-sized chunks of stuff from our community over on there as well. And I believe that's the majority of them. I might be missing one here or there. So yeah, you can find us on a lot of those. There are some of those that allow multiple people to contribute, such as Facebook editors as well. So anybody in our community that would love to help with content, please send me a DM. That would be amazing. One update from our website, we actually changed some things on the forums recently. Most people will not be able to view the forums. Probably not if you're not at least assist or higher. There were some things that just aren't used anymore, like the old forum news section. All the news is coming from Azure Net now, so no need for that section anymore. And all of these things are having steady growth, and news posts as well also slowed down while I was sick, so those will be back in rotation very soon. And it's like I said, with Assist, Assist is our first step up from membership. These are folks that, take a step up to help with the things like I mentioned, recruitment, applications, helping people, light moderation. Anyone is welcome to get involved at any time. We usually wait a couple weeks after someone's joined to make sure that they, have acclimated with our community and kind of know enough about our community before stepping up in rank. And we do have a monthly meeting for those who can attend, with summaries for those who can't. Which is for Assist only, and then of course we have our council meetings as well. No one is ever pressured to rank up in Azure. That's something that we wanted to be different than a lot of guilds and not have that pressure. A lot of times people, will take long breaks, or, we don't want to totally penalize people of their rank when they've got IRL stuff going on. Or other needs. This is supposed to be a fun thing as well as being organized. So while we do have some protocol and we do have some practices and things that, go into place into keeping us orderly, it's not a pressurized system. So we do want to make sure that people are using their ranks. But, even some of the most effective scouts are quieter people who just, keep an eye on chat or jump into a run with a member now and then. That can be helpful because as a team, we're stronger. We're strongest as a team. One person doing one nice thing for someone every day makes a huge difference. I'm going to, say hi to someone today. Tomorrow I'm going to give a new recruit some information that's really cool or something. Imagine if all 40 people or so on our team, on our support rank team, did that every single day. That'd be amazing. Of course, everybody has different schedules, and some people are only on certain days of the week. But how amazing is that if everybody does one nice thing for someone every day? What if the whole community did that every day? What kind of impact would that have? To me, that's a really exciting thought. So, if coming out of your shell a little bit and seeing the back end of our support ranks, and maybe I want to see what that's like, or just, become a scout, and, you might get inspired to get more involved. You might find, something you like to do within Azure that you really enjoy. And we've seen a lot of people blossom after taking that step. So, and there's never a problem with stepping back down either. So just want to make sure that's clear. Real quick before we end this and do our finale raffle, I did want to give a shout out to a couple people. Someone who has been with us a very, very long time, going back to 2018. That's a pretty long time. That's, like 8 years. Recently retired from FF14, who was also a council member of ours and took a step back or a step down while retiring from the game itself. And I would just want to spotlight this person and give them a huge thank you for all the help and all the events hosted, everything that they have contributed. That would be Rakvasha Vane. Has been a lieutenant with us since 2024 and with Azure since 2018. It was very, I would say it was very emotional. But definitely huge thank you to Rack. Thank you, Rack, for all of your hard work and support over the years. And also I want to remind our, community as well that, once in a while, we do have folks, from different ranks that are higher or lower, that might be like repositioned and not so much demoted. And that just to keep that in your mind that, there are some folks that, might take a break from council sometime, and return to a member or scout rank. And I just want everybody to know that that doesn't always mean demotion. Sometimes that just means taking a break too. So, we also had another step down from council recently, and that's Sour Pumpkin, which I wanted to recognize for her hard work and her time spent hosting, as well as helping with quite a lot of stuff between, her time joining us at the end of 24 and throughout 25. A big shout out to Sour. Big thanks to these council members of ours. Okay, and also, I want to thank our assist members as well, who has been, keeping a great eye out for things, reporting in the Scout channel. Folks have been stepping up to help hosts. It's been amazing. Even those who may not be a host, but you're in the Scouts and you come to events and support them, as well as our council, our lovely team here that's, helps day to day with the big stuff in the background, some of the hardest stuff that, that's actually, our community doesn't really make it that hard, but it is, not easy, keeping a whole community together and making sure that everything is very well oiled. And so, big thanks to our council team, our scouts, and also our members, who have all been amazing. I mean, I can't tell you how long it's been since we've had, any sort of report, or any stressful thing happen. It's amazing. Wonderful group of people we have here. So many wonderful faces that joined us even this week alone. So that just continues to make me, and I know others, very excited for the road ahead. So just all good things. Thank you guys so much. And, I hope that, folks are excited for our upcoming Glamour and screenshot contest. I hope that Azure Day weekend sounds exciting. We've got a big weekend in March planned. That's going to be very big. So mark your calendars, March 28th to 29th. So, some fun contests ahead. The big 30th duel tournament is going to be very exciting, and a lot of growth in our wings this year. I can feel it now. So, wanted to kick this year off with this January assembly, the last moments of January 2026. With all this good news. So thank you all for supporting Azure Infinitum. Thank you for joining us. We're going to do our final raffle. This is the raffle for the i770 fully pentamelded set. High quality, courtesy of our Lieutenant Roken here. I'm going to jump into the center. We're going to do the big raffle. Now remember, for this one, you certainly have to be a member of our community in some form. So if you are in the Infinitum Reserve Corps, if you are part of our FC, please enter a 3-digit number or a /random in-game to show us your random number. there, show us your entry. Like I said, that is a 3-digit number in Twitch chat, Grand Assembly chat. Can also be a /random in game. And the number closest to mine will win a crafted set of their choice. So if you want one for healer or a DPS or a tank, you're just going to let us know if you win. Oh, my mic is glitching? Is it still doing it? Let me see. Now my PC fans just came on and started doing something. Uh-oh. Let me see here. Oh, we got a new friend asking to join here in general chat. Very cool. Someone might be able to assist them. Is my mic still? Let me see. I don't want to turn on the stream because it'll double. It's fine now? Okay, that might have just been some kind of hiccup or something. Okay, cool. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. Okay. Okay, let's see. I'm going to put the numbers up on the screen again. There we go. Okay, this is our big raffle. This is a very highly sought after set. This is the newest crafted set, overmelded. That means pentamelded. I'm sorry. That means, you know, all the materia in this gear, high quality, full set of your choice. You will be completely savage raid ready with this gear. You will be able to smack anything in this game. Well, I see Defensor not a fan of the gear. It's very pretty though. It's got that like whole magical girl like vibe to it. I think for, you know, certain styles, I think that would go really good with that. All right. Okay, here we go. We're about to see the results. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. 690, 690. Oh boy, we got a 677. Let's see here. Okay, looking at all the... Okay, this 714 now. We have 713, 714, 79... Okay, 742 is pretty close. No, that's 7, sorry. 690, okay. That is still kind of close. 713 is closer, okay. 714... No, 713 is the closest so far. Didn't I see another one? Hold on. Oh, that was 677. That's the one I saw that was closest, yeah. Oh boy. Is it 677? Checking all channels real quick. Want to make sure it's a big price. I am seeing Syrup McWaffle. Only 13 away. There's no other 600s that I see. Okay, yeah, I'm looking at Syrup McWaffle. Congratulations, Syrup. All right, so please let Roken or I know which one it is that you would like. For what role. You can take a little time to think if you like. That's fine. But if you know for sure, yeah, please let Roken know. Congrats, Syrup. DPS. Well, you got a couple DPS ones. You got the magical ranged, the melee. What job are you looking for? Okay, just let Roken know. Make sure you're sure which one, and he'll work on that for you. Thank you guys for entering. All right, so we have our Q&A phase for anybody who wants to maybe, like I said, announce something of their own. If you have a Eternal Bond or a static announcement, if you've got a question about anything we talked about here today, maybe have a idea or proposal or something you'd like to address to the council and I here in this live setting with everybody present, feel free to step up to the podium or line up at the podium here. Also, in our Discord, if you're in the, well, you would be in the Grand Assembly channel if you're hearing this, there is a raise hand feature. And then if you use raise hand, it will actually have a request to speak, which will bring you up on stage. So we've got one so far. All right, first one up is Akiyama. Hey, Akiyama, thanks for joining us.
Hey. I just want to say, Aslan, about the Grimace stuff, it's just a joke. I'm sorry. In any case, I want to say thank you for letting me in the community. It's been a while since I played 14, and on top of that, I hope to stay here and make this the home. I just got to be a reminder that this is the living room, essentially. But I want to say I have heard good news recently outside of, the community and work life and stuff. My girlfriend's mom is finally at the hospital and is in rehab. Unfortunately, my girlfriend is still in the hospital. So, in a sense, I'm still trying not to think about that as much, but still caring about her. But at the same time, I still want to at least show support where I can. But I want to say there was a screenshot recently that I seen not too long ago. Reika, maybe we could talk about that as being a banner, maybe.
Very funny.
Okay,
funny.
I swear. That's it. Aslan's probably just fuming right now.
Well, we certainly, wish them the best and very, quick recovery as much as possible, and, hope that you hang in there as well. And, thank you for your words today. Thanks for coming up, and
yep.
Thanks for calling Azure your home.
I literally hit the raise hand thing first because I was like, I got to check what time it is. I was like, I got time. I have to get ready for work.
All good.
But thank you, Reika. Thank you, everybody that's here. I've met so many new people, and it's been a fun time. I hopefully come to another one of these.
I hope to see you there.
Okie dokie.
Thanks, Akiyama.
Yep.
All right, next we have Oni Ridiu. Welcome to the stage, Oni.
Hello. Well, thank you. I also wanted to kind of tag on that and thank you for sending me an invite. I've been waiting a very long time to actually get into the community for real. I just want to do a shout out to those, who've been in voice chat and stuff. I know I ask a lot of questions, but they've been extremely helpful. I've been off and on Final Fantasy 14 for a while, but I've been an infant the whole time. So they've helped me grow, and it's been freaking-tastic. So you got a good thing going. Thank you, Rika.
Thank you, Oni. I'm so glad you finally made it over. Woo! Server's open.
Yeah, I know. I think it's like a month after March Rack was like, "Hey, thanks for getting a sub," but they literally just closed the door again. I was like, "Gosh darn it!"
Yep.
But yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm so glad you're here. All right, awesome. Do we have anyone else? If there's anything that you want to write on Twitch or in the Grand Assembly chat as well, I can read it off. If we had anybody else that wanted to take the stage, give any words at all. If you have comments or any sort of feedback for Council and I, or any others, you know, here. If there's any updates of your own that you have, this is the place to do it. We'll give a moment here to see if there's anybody else. Like I said, you can type in game as well, and I can read that, or any of our other chats. Or you can also use the request to speak here on the stage. Also, don't forget, if anybody had anything they would like to talk about, you know, privately as well, that's also fine. You know, maybe not everybody, you know, is, everybody is immune to stage fright sometimes, so I understand. But that's also, you know, fine too. Just let us know. Let me know. Let me see here. Nope, I don't see anything else in any of our chats. So I'll give it a few more, another moment, because there may be some typing as well. Righteous just said in chat, hey, anyone looking for a tank main for statics, please let me know. I'd really love to do statics. Just a couple more minutes here. Any other questions, proposals, feedback for Council and I? It all matters to us. We like to know how you guys feel about things too. Okay, see, yeah, we love you too, Zoc. Zoc says love you all. All right, wanted to make sure we give everybody enough time. Don't see anyone else requesting to speak or having any comments. Excuse me. See, Aslan saying, thank you for letting me be part of this awesome team. Absolutely. No, absolutely. Thank you for all that you've helped with, Aslan. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Oh, we have one last speaker. One last speaker. Welcome to the stage, Defensor.
Hey there.
Hey, Defensor. What's up?
How's it going? Yeah. much. I just want to let everybody know that I have been MIA for a while. Ray and most of the council know why. Hint, I was sick and I have a new puppy, but that's pretty much it. But I'm looking forward to getting back into the game a little bit more as the winter starts warming up. Less work for me until my spring job starts up again. That was pretty much it. I'm coming back. So sorry, not sorry.
Awesome, Defensor. Well, we definitely miss you during your time away. Glad you are feeling better, definitely. Number one, first and foremost. And looking forward to seeing you back around, man.
Yeah, should be fun.
All right, thank you guys. Thank you those who contributed to Q&A here or had something to put forward. We appreciate your comments. We are glad to see everybody that showed up today. We had a ton of people here. We had upwards of almost 30 in the VC, as well as a good 11 people on Twitch for a while there. That was really cool. And of course, this recording is going to go out onto our YouTube as Grand Assembly Cast for January 2026. So other people can also check out and listen to this later, as well as anybody that wants to rewatch or maybe catch up on announcements that were made during the assembly. The archive will be posted at our Azure Infinitum YouTube channel under Grand Assembly Cast. Thank you to everybody who attended and watched, also those listening and watching in the future as well. I hope that the announcements that we have and the, a lot of the reassurance on our wings, the projects going on, the fun that we're going to have this year, all the things that are kind of in store for our community and more to come is exciting to you guys as it is to us here in the council. I know I'm very, very excited. And a great way to kick off the year. So thanks again, everybody. And keep being awesome. Keep being excellent to each other. As free as the azure sky.